In the shadows of golden thrones, and beneath the polished veneer of gracious smiles, lies a kingdom swirling with whispers louder than proclamations. The world of royal secrets is not one easily penetrated, for it is a realm fortified by vows of silence, where the truth stands shackled by unspoken agreements. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. A delicate dance performed under the heavy cloak of tradition, where each sidelong glance and hushed conversation forms the tapestry of a mystery perpetually woven, yet never fully unveiled. Noble gardens and opulent halls mask stories not meant for the tapestry of common folklore, but reserved for the confidences of a trusted few. Only those who dare venture into this enigma will see the fine line trodden by loyalty and betrayal, where the stakes are as high as the reverence bestowed upon their regal titles. The peculiar silence speaks volumes, relationships defined in part by what is said, and largely by what is left unsaid, a silence so oppressive that it guards skeletons in closets further hidden behind resolute doors. As each page of this narrative turns, the kingdom's emblematic grace descends into a tale that reveals the high cost of sovereignty, a story yet incomplete, whispering an invitation to unravel its elusive truths. Secrets are rarely silent within the ivory walls of royalty. The glittering facade of the Windsor family belied an imperceptibly growing rift, a crack snaking silently beneath its golden veneer. This conflict, whispered about in hushed tones and shadowy corners, began as a mere whisper of discontent at grand banquets and resplendent celebrations. Their smiles were dazzling, but the tension simmered just below the surface, palpable yet unseen. Each exchanged glance, seemingly innocent, carried the weight of unspoken grievances and unvoiced ambitions. The corridors of their majestic palace, once echoing with laughter, became arenas of hushed arguments and melodious disputes. It was a delicate dance of power and tradition, an interwoven tapestry of duty and desire threatening to unravel with each tug at its threads. An invisible line had been drawn in the sand, a line crossed under the guise of tradition and unity, a tension that was more than a mere family squabble. Behind closed doors, alliances were subtly forged and promises whispered in secret, sowing seeds of doubt among the uninitiated. The mystery lay not in the open disagreements, but in what remained unsaid. And yet, despite the gathering storm, the image projected to the world was one of serenity and grace. But beneath the delicate veneer of royal harmony, a colossal struggle loomed, one that would inevitably test the bonds of blood and loyalty, threatening to shatter the illusion of perfection. Faces remained stoic, hearts steeled against the coming tempest, as if sensing that the coronation of pride could exact an unbearable price. As the tension within the Windsor family grew unnoticeably thicker, it was clear that the road ahead was fraught with conflicts yet to be resolved. A road where the truth and reconciliation were spectres dancing just out of reach. The stately halls of the palace whispered tales of grandeur. Yet it was in these gilded chambers that Princess Anne learned the true savagery of courtly life, its brilliance shrouded in a miasma of deceit. From her earliest days, Anne, poised with an air of regal inevitability, watched as the smiles around her grew sharp edges, concealing intentions far more sinister than treachery sketched in childhood tales. The duplicitous nature of her surrounding courtiers became increasingly apparent, their hollow laughter echoing secrets that eerily lingered in the lavish tapestries. Those who wore the crown of loyalty on their heads bore, beneath, the chains of ambition, and it was through their veiled machinations that Anne's disillusionment soured into something far darker, a blade of disgruntlement, sharpened by every deceitful encounter, meant to fracture her spirit. Yet, rather than succumb to their glare of false geniality, she harnessed their expected downfall as fuel, a simmering fire, urging her towards an inevitable revelation of strength. Anne had all but grown weary in the shadow of the throne, where ambition weaved a tapestry of whispers that begged to unravel. No longer content to stand in silent indignation, she stirred with purpose, weaving her own path through the dense fog of subterfuge that clouded her world. Her dissatisfaction, once a dull ache, morphed into a catalyst, igniting a newfound defiance against those who dared to undermine her resolve. Through keen observation and a sharpened intellect, she cultivated an understanding of the tangled web of influence and manipulation. The princess vowed to outmaneuver the very architects of the court's subtle machinations, embarking on a path not marked by open revolt, but defined by strategic brilliance, a stealthy dance of diplomacy, where her every step was calculated, her every word measured with painstaking precision. Driven by an unflinching determination, Anne was set to transform her lackluster position into a formidable force, her eyes now fixed squarely on rewriting the very balance of power itself. For decades, the royal palace had been a fortress of decorum and dignity, a place where secrets were tucked away like heirlooms in a dusty attic. Among these walls resided Prince Edward, the ostensibly reserved scion of the monarchy, whose presence was more often felt through silence than speech. But beneath this veneer of reserved nobility lay a simmering resolve, a hidden ember of determination that threatened to consume the palace's polished facade. It was a resolve fueled not by ambition for the throne, but by an unyielding thirst for truth. The whispers began softly, fluttering through lavish banquets, like unwelcome guests at a feast, gained momentum with each questioning glance, every stifled gasp. Edward had grown patient, watching and waiting, like a predator who knows his quarry will make a misstep. He had witnessed too many smiles that did not reach the eyes, heard too many words that left a bitter aftertaste of deceit. The air in the palace was dense with unspoken histories, and Edward's mind was a library of sights and sounds, waiting to be catalogued into questions that demanded answers. This disquietude nestled within him, growing restless with each passing day. Fed by the invisible threads that connected the innocent with the ominous, he had seen the shadows loom larger, encroaching upon the light that once danced in childhood memories of innocence and belonging. Yet, now this light felt dimmed by a veil of secrets, woven from threads of power and betrayal. And so Edward's resolve grew, unbridled and fierce, as he traversed the hallways of privilege that he knew were paved with hidden truths. The prince's demeanor was a carefully crafted illusion, a quiet mask whose silence was its loudest expression. But beneath the surface, his mind whirred incessantly, a hive of buzzing thoughts that demanded justice for those who had silently suffered. It was not vengeance he sought, but closure, a resolution as ancient and necessary as the bloodlines that bound him to this legacy of sovereignty. Yet, like a chain forged of both freedom and burden, this legacy was double-edged, its opulent weight a constant reminder of the untold narratives buried beneath a gilded exterior. As the pieces assembled themselves into a jigsaw of intrigue, the stakes grew ever clearer. Edward's journey was a clandestine dance along the fine line that separated curiosity from peril. He was no longer simply a prince standing under the crown's shadow. He was a seeker standing at the edge of revelation. For an heir, hope seemed as delicate as a candle in the gusts of destiny. But for Edward, every flicker was a beacon, daring him to glance into the abyss that lay hidden within familiar eyes and comforting embraces. Here was where the drama truly unfolded, at the cusp of a revelation foreboding enough to change everything. With resolve steely and spirit unwavering, he could sense that the palace, with its centuries of majesty, trembled before the storm he would soon unleash. Each discovery promised to peel back the layers of royal secrecy, tracing a line from past shadows into the present. In this narrative maze, Edward knew, lay the key to mastering his own destiny, a destiny less about crowns and more about confronting the whispered secrets that chilled the regal halls with silent reverations. And so, step by step, Prince Edward prepared to journey into the heart of his family's labyrinthine legacy, poised on the precipice of untangling the storied truths from comfortable lies. In the dim corridors of power, where whispers linger and shadows doubly eve tales of their own, there lies a secret, a truth cloaked in layers of deceit and silence, that the kingdom unknowingly rests upon. King Charles, the monarch whose very presence commands respect and fear alike, holds within his grasp a secret that has the power to upend the very foundation of his reign. Beneath his regal facade lies a hidden truth, a spectre looming just beyond the light's reach, a secret that, if revealed, could cast the kingdom into turmoil, unraveling the threads of monarchy, stitched together by time and tradition. The walls of the throne room have borne witness to the echo of hushed conversations, to alliances formed with a handshake and broken with a single word. Not so long ago, King Charles, with eyes as sharp as the blade he once wielded, engaged in a conversation. one that seemed ordinary, unremarkable to the uninformed observer. Yet to those few in the know, to those who understood the weight of every syllable, it was far from trivial. It was the kind of exchange that could chill a spine and elicit a furtive glance over one's shoulder. What secret, then, did their words veil? What shadowy truth did they shroud? One that could alter the course of a kingdom's destiny. Beyond the polished veneer of pomp and circumstance, beyond the grandeur of royal decrees, lies an intricate web, meticulously woven. It is a castle in the sky, built on delicate truths and half-truths, sustained by the rumours that swirl just beneath the surface. And at the heart of it stands King Charles, the enigmatic conductor of this orchestral turmoil, playing a melody few have ever heard, but many feel in their bones. One might wonder, as courtiers whisper and ministers plot, what designs lie behind the king's inscrutable eyes. Are they the eyes of a ruler intent on protecting his realm from the chaos of uncertain truths, or do they hide the fear of an inevitable revelati? On, for truth, persistent in its pursuit, knows no locks nor guardians. It is a visitor, knocking quietly at the door, with infinite patience, daring to upset the delicate balance of power and harmony. The corridors of Castle Highbourne, ancient and imposing, have guarded secrets as old as the stones themselves, and now they pulse with the anticipation of one secret in particular, a secret that, should it escape the bonds of silence, could transform the kingdom irrevocably. The knowledge of it flickers like a candle in the wind, its mere existence challenging the stability of a crown once thought unassailable. What hidden past does King Charles guard with such fervour? What truth clings to him, shaping his every decision, haunting him even in the peace of solitude? In rooms beyond the grandeur of the throne, arguments of strategy and lineage become whispers of conspiracy and concealed knowledge. There are those who tread lightly, for fear of catching the king's wary eye, a look that searches souls and discerns truths. What might such eyes see if the secret were to unravel? Like a tapestry's loose thread tugged insistently, the kingdom's very heart seems to hold its breath, anticipating the unraveling of a tale that could redefine the rule of King Charles. Though the future remains uncertain, there is one invariant: the truth will not remain hidden forever. Its shadows stretch out long and lean, inching ever closer towards revelation, ready to test the steel of a king and the endurance of his reign. The kingdom waits, poised on the precipice, as the secrets of its sovereign stand ready to remake history. Upon whose shoulders will the consequences finally fall? And what shape shall they take? The answer, cloaked in mystery, lies just beyond the horizon. As suspicion weaves its web through the ornate palace halls, Anne and Edward's secret alliance takes shape, setting a stage for a betrayal of epic proportions. The heart of the monarchy quivers as Anne and Edward dig deeper into the shadows, where royal blood runs thick with deceit. In the dim recesses of the palace archives, beneath layers of dust and forgotten words, the truth seethes like a living thing. Blood ties bind them to a secret so incendiary, it threatens to redefine the entire legacy of Queen Elizabeth's reign. Anne, with her steely determination, and Edward, cloaked in his brooding silence, find themselves at the precipice of a revelation that could turn the crown on its head. The whispers of the past encircle them, murmuring of clandestine meetings held in darkened rooms, of conversations shrouded in code, and unbreakable oaths sworn under the moon's watchful eye. This alliance, born of necessity and nourished by shared torment, is a fragile thing, delicate as the spider's silk, yet daunting as the storm. Both contenders in a game of shadows and loyalty, they tread carefully, feeling the weight of generations pressing upon them. Anne's resolve is a force to be reckoned with, drawn from stories whispered in nursery rhymes about queens of old, and a family history heavy with triumph and tragedy. Edward, ever the diplomat with a facade smooth as polished marble, bears his own lineage's scars, etched deep by those who wield their roles as both shield and weapon. What had begun as a quest for understanding unfurls before them as a labyrinth of deceit, each turn echoing with the ghosts of their ancestors, those who had mastered the art of concealing truth beneath layers of royal veneer. As they uncover documents long buried, secrets revealed in the crackle of old parchment, their mission becomes a race against time itself. How deeply ingrained are these secrets in the royal lineage? And what past events forged such impenetrable bonds of silence? Not mere cover-ups, but deliberate constructs that have protected power for centuries and altered the destinies of heirs and favorites alike. Every revelation feeds the fire, promising chaos that could consume the monarchy's very foundation. Anne and Edward are no longer mere pawns. They become architects of a saga that could demand a reckoning from history itself. Secrets old as time lure them ever closer, a siren's call to those brave, or desperate, enough to unearth them. Under the guise of duty and loyalty, they move as one, weaving their own thread of deceit amidst the monarchy's tangled web. They speak in hushed tones behind closed doors, aware that the shadowed corridors have ears of their own. The knowledge they possess is a double-edged sword, offering both the thrill of power and the dread of its consequences. It promises upheaval, yet offers redemption, a chance to unshackle themselves from a fate dictated by birthright and grasp at a future crafted by their own hands. What price will they pay for this clandestine alliance? What strings are being pulled unseen, guiding or manipulating events to come? With every page turned, every hidden chamber exposed, the stakes rise, veiled threats lurking beneath polished smiles and courtly bows. Yet, even as each new piece of the puzzle emerges, a singular truth becomes undeniable. Anne and Edward dance on a knife edge, held tight by an unspoken pact they must either uphold or shatter. They walk forward into the abyss, heartbeats thundering in unison, bearing the weight of a secret that yearns to set the world aflame. Bound by blood, challenged by destiny, and haunted by the spectre of revolution, their journey teeters on the brink. A journey woven with strands of power, peril, and promised betrayal. And as the final lock clicks and yields its gifts of knowledge, they know there's no turning back. Here lies the threshold, the cusp of turmoil, and promise, where shadows deepen and the glow of truth awaits. A truth so potent, it's destined to reshape the pages of history. What unfolds next will either strengthen or fracture the bonds that tie them, altering not only their fates, but the very map of legacy that Queen Elizabeth's reign has drawn. As the sun dipped behind the ancient stone walls of the kingdom, the whispers of untold secrets began to unravel the tightly woven tapestry of deceit and duty that had cloaked the royal halls for centuries. The air, once heavy with ancestral expectations, now buzzed with an energy that promised liberation, a break from the chains of whispered lies and shrouded truths. Shadows danced upon the grand portraits that lined the corridors, each silent witness to the rise and fall of those who dared to wield power. The new dawn loomed, not with the promise of tradition, but with a revelation that would unearth the very foundations of their legacy. At the heart of this revelation lay the unyielding spirit of a forgotten lineage, one gnawed by sacrifice yet enriched by an unwavering pursuit of truth. It was a lineage that had been buried beneath the grandiose myths spun by the reigning patriarchy, their voices reduced to mere echoes, yet growing louder with each tempered strike against the feeble facade of nobility. The royal family, now at the precipice of change, was forced to face an epoch where the untamed veracity of their ancestors wove through the present like a resolute choir, demanding to be heard. With each revelation, the monarchy found itself teetering on the edge of a precipice, where the prosperous, gilded kingdoms of past glories stood, juxtaposed against the abyss of their own unknown legacies. Yet even as truth surged to the surface, threatening to engulf everything in its path, a quieter story emerged, a whisper of hope, seeded in the rich soil of authenticity. A brave few, standing defiant amid the chaos, began to rally to the call of a renewed dynasty, one not drenched in the sins of secrecy, but revitalized by an unwavering pursuit of justice and authenticity. The echoes of these unburdened truths beckoned to an era where shadows would no longer hold sway over the destiny of the kingdom, a future propelled by the courage to confront history and amend its course. For it was not in the grandeur of titles or the pomp of ceremony that true power lay, but in the undeniable, steadfast pulse of a kingdom determined to rewrite its own narrative, free at last from the shackles of fear. As this unyielding truth reverberated through the halls, a tentative hope began to flicker amidst the tumult, promising not just redemption but a reclamation of identity, a rebirth set ablaze by the very fabric it sought to mend. In the heart of such transformation, One question resonated above all else, gripping the kingdom in a tide of anticipation and unspoken promise. What new destiny awaited this revitalized monarchy, standing finally unshackled in the light of its own unvarnished truth? As the first light of dawn gilded the towers, the House of Windsor stood poised on the brink of a transformative era. Princess Anne and Edward, having shed the layers of secrecy that once bound them, now stood as the bedrock of a redefined monarchy, one shaped by resilience, clarity, and transparency. Fusing their efforts with those ready for change, they embarked on a journey to reconnect with their people, forging ties not just through tradition, but through authenticity and shared purpose. The silent revolution born from their courageous revelations ignited a flame of unity, stirring a deep-seated sense of duty within every corner of the kingdom. It was a call to action, as each voice that had once whispered in the shadows now sang together in a harmonious chorus, weaving a future steeped in trust and mutual respect. In the gentle rustling of leaves and the murmurs of the Thames, the royal legacy continued, but now with an invigorated spirit. The map of their ancestry laid before them, not as a burden to carry, but as a tapestry through which they could weave their newfound fortitude, paving a path for those yet to come. The sun rose higher, casting its golden glow upon a land ripe with potential, as those who once watched from distant sidelines stepped closer, drawn to a monarchy that promised inclusion and understanding. Thus, with hearts unshackled and steps emboldened, the House of Windsor embraced its destiny. It was a new dawn, not only for them, but for a nation ready to journey forward, hand in hand with a royal family as boldly real and resolutely hopeful as the dreams that now bound them together.